What's up, everybody? It's your boy Rob, the Wall Street Custodian, coming back with a video that's not like anything I've ever done. Because, to be honest with you, my world has been turned upside down. What has transpired over the past 3 or 4 days, I just can't believe in the world here I'm talking about. And what I'm specifically speaking about is Elon Musk and what he dropped on us all. And I am so grateful for this. I don't even know where to start. I wrestled, am I going to talk about this? And you know what? There sometimes comes a point in somebody's life where you gotta make a change. You gotta do what's right. And I know we talk stocks mostly here, but man, I get chills even talking about this. What we have learned from the Twitter files and from Elon Musk does have an effect on stocks. When you really think about it, who's in charge, how things go, and what's happening behind the scenes here. We have now found out with proof that Twitter engaged in I'm being very careful with what I say here because, I don't think YouTube is as free as Twitter is right now. You can say your opinion on Twitter. It's crazy, right? Just the fact that I'm even saying that, right? You can say your opinion on Twitter and be pretty confident that you won't, as long as you're not being offensive or being grotesque, right? You can say what you have to say, right? Like just recently, Kanye West got taken down on Twitter, and rightfully so. What he was saying was bonkers. So, there is a line, right, on Twitter too, right? But here, I don't even know what I could say here, just even my own opinions. This is America. I should be able to say what my thoughts are, my opinions. Since when am I not even allowed, or since when am I questioning myself, what I'm allowed to say here? And I think that's why my mind is so blown here. We now have proof that behind the scenes in Twitter, any thoughts, any opinions that were not towing the line of the Democratic Party were taken down. Bottom line, all right? And this is coming from somebody, me, who is very socially liberal, but like more fiscally conservative, when it comes to safeties and border. And I really think the government should be out of our life. You're free to do whatever you want. I don't care who you are, what you want to be. Amen to you. Do what you want. But I don't think the government should have any say in that. But what the government does have a say in is keeping us safe, keeping, the basic rules in place. I like the government to be out of my life. Just keep me safe. Keep us prosperous, keep my taxes low, keep my gas cheap, keep my stock market, safe, so to speak, bad actors kept out. That's all I care about, right? Like that's, I'm very simple to please here, right? What we found out here this weekend is just it's mind-blowing. I still can't wrap my head around it. So let's take a look. So, of course, this was released, Elon released this through Matt Taibbi, right? And it says, what you're about to read is this is the first installment, who knows what's coming next, in a series based upon thousands of internal documents obtained by sources at Twitter. The Twitter files, right, tells an incredible story from inside one of the world's largest and most influential social media platforms. It's a Frankensteinian tale of a human-built mechanism grown out the controls of its designer. Twitter, in its conception, was a brilliant tool for enabling instant mass communication, making a true real-time global conversation possible. That is so true. It was amazing, right? So is Facebook and YouTube and all these other things too. So, and that's another thing I just want to quickly throw out there. Imagine what else is going on in these other companies. Twitter is the only one that has been quote unquote freed from this right now. What the heck is going on at other companies? And I love Google as a company. I love their business model. I've made videos about investing. I invest in Google. My gosh, if they're doing that, well, oh man, I just hope they're not doing anything like this to this extent. In an early conception, Twitter more than lived up to its mission statement, giving the people the power to create and share ideas and information instantly, without barriers. But as time progressed, the company, was slowly forced to add those barriers. Some of the first tools for controlling speech were designed to combat the likes of spam and financial fraudsters. And amen, that should be stopped, right? But slowly over time, Twitter staff and executives began to find more and more uses for these tools. Outsiders began petitioning the company to manipulate speech as well. First a little bit, then more often, then constantly. And let me jump in there. And that's usually what happens with some of these things, right? Usually these things happen over a period of time. Something as grave. The freedom of speech is everything we have. It's what the Revolutionary War was fought over. It's what countless wars were fought over. It's what, we're an infant country. We're only, 250 years old, give or take, right? We're an infant compared to the lifespan of humanity on the planet, right? And almost unequivocally, nobody ever had free speech, right? There was always a king or a ruler or a despot or whatever the case may be. A tyrant always takes charge. And it's just happening right now. I mean, we see this happening in real time in countries around the world. That's why America, I love so much. That flag right there. God, I get tears in my eyes when I think about it. I love that flag so much because my grandpa fought for it. Many of our family members fought to keep, communism or tyranny away from our shores. And the right to free speech is paramount for what they fought for. The right to be able to express your feelings. Now, yes, again, I'm going to say this a second time. Disgusting hate and stuff like that, there really is no place for. But free speech, the exchange of ideas is fine. How could we ever as a society think that we should not be able to express ourselves? The best ideas win. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. I love the liberal quote, right? I disagree with you strongly, sir. I disagree with you strongly, but I'll defend till my death your right to say it. Think about that quote for a second. I disagree with everything you're saying. Everything you say I disagree with. I hate that you say it, right? But I'll defend till my death your right to say it. That quote is just intense. And you have to absorb it. You can't read a quote like that. You can't listen to a quote like that. You have to absorb a quote like that. All right? There is a difference. Tom MacDonald says it in one of his songs recently. There's a difference between hate speech and speech that you hate. Crazy, right? This is a crazy time we're living in. And I'm talking about this stuff because sometimes, we're getting to the point now where not our right to exist and be able to be allowed to freely express ourselves is more important than anything else, in my opinion. Stocks, this, that. If we don't have free speech, we have nothing. What if it, because you don't know how far that can progress. What if it comes to a point where we're not allowed to talk about stocks anymore? Oh, your opinions on this stock, how far can free speech go, be taken away? That's the scary part. That's why it can't ever be taken away at all, because how far will it go? What if, we've seen what some of these big greedy institutions and corporations and elitists, global elitists, how big their power is. What if they completely get crazy? This is just mind-blowing, everything I've learned here, guys, and I decided to talk about it. I just can't, I feel like my world was turned upside down by this, because I knew this stuff was happening, but I didn't know it was this bad. I didn't know they were doing it to this extent. Slowly, over time, Twitter staff and executives began to find more and more uses for these tools to shut down free speech, right? Outsiders began I read that already. Outsiders began petitioning a little bit, then more, then constant. Okay. By 2020, requests from connected actors to delete tweets were routine. One executive would write to another, quote, more review from the Biden team. And then they replied, it's handled. Think about what we're saying right now. That means in a team, this Biden wasn't in yet. This is a campaign, okay? So you have a president. Trump was president. You have a campaign running against him. One campaign was able to go to basically the town square where everybody's talking and exchanging ideas and tell the leaders of Twitter, shut down any opposition speech that's favorable to Trump, whatever. And they wrote handled. What? This is all I heard in this past election was threats to democracy, threats to democracy, threats to democracy, threats to democracy, blah, blah. The right is a threat to democracy. That's all I heard. You start to believe it after a while. You start to believe it. Come to find out they were the threat to democracy. For God's sakes here. But I know this. You can't stop free speech. I am against anyone who wants to shut down free speech. Free speech is fundamental to everything we have. Celebrities and unknown alike could be removed or reviewed at the behest of a political party, right? The Democratic Party. We know that James Woods was taken down. I watched his interview on Tucker. You should really see it. He's furious about it. He already knew this was happening, but man, he's furious. He's planning on suing. A lot of stuff's going on. Now, it does say here both parties had access to the tools. For instance, in 2020, requests from both the Trump White House and the Biden campaign were received and honored. However, the system wasn't balanced. It was based on contacts because Twitter was and is overwhelmingly staffed by people of one political orientation. There were more channels, more ways to complain open to the left than there was on the right. And it goes over the stats. This is crazy. The resulting slant in content moderation decisions is visible in the documents you're about to read. However, it's also the assessment of multiple current and former high-level executives. The New York Post published Biden's secret emails and exposed an expose based on the content of Hunter Biden's abandoned laptop. And here's what's crazy. Twitter took extraordinary steps to suppress the story, removing links and posting warnings saying that it may be unsafe. They even blocked its transmission via direct message. That's from one to another. They blocked direct messages. A tool hitherto reserving for like extreme cases like child pornography or something like that, like extreme terrorism or whatever. They could, I guess, step in and stop direct message. But no, they use it to protect a candidate that was trying to win the presidency against an incumbent president. This is insane. This is insane that this was allowed to... Not even that there was, of course, this is insane. They did this. This is against the Constitution and everything we stand for as a country. Everything we stand for, this is against it. The heads of Twitter took this down. This is a story that I only heard a tiny bit of before the election. There was polls conducted after the election that show 1 in 6 Biden voters, if they knew what was on that laptop about, the Biden family's dealings overseas, et cetera, would not have voted for him. Now, I want you to understand what that means, because it took me all weekend to really think about that. So if people say even just a small amount, because the election was a hair, right? A couple states, thousands of votes decided the election, right? So if this swayed the electorate into the favor of Biden, think about what happened after. We had a botched Afghanistan withdrawal with 13 people murdered there. 13 of our finest men and women. Okay? That may not have happened. The stock market slide right now. That may not have happened. War in Ukraine may not have happened, right? We don't know what did interfering with an election, okay? Because that's it. Once you're suppressing speech, you're interfering. That's it. Bottom line. I'm not YouTube, don't take me down. I'm not saying the F word or anything like that, right? I'm just saying this is clear. You interfered. You stopped speech. You stopped Americans from speaking. You interfered. That's it. That's a fact, right? Nobody can dispute that now. Think about the ripple effects that has caused and the mess we're in right now. Think about what gas prices would be right now if this didn't happen. How much money has come out of my own pocket right now if this didn't happen. This is crazy. I'm just blown away. I'm blown away. White House spokesman Kayleigh McEnany was locked out of her account for tweeting about the story. What? Could you imagine right now? Ready? Imagine right now it's 2024. Everything stays the same up to then. And Elon Musk and Twitter lock out the current White House press secretary. John Pierre, I believe her name is. Imagine that. The outrage that would happen. My gosh. I was in a space call this weekend. I think there was about 100,000 people. And big shout out to Tara Bull. She was along with Mario, who led this space call. Elon Musk hops in there and talks for almost 2 hours, an hour and a half to 2 hours. Some of the stuff he said, I just can't believe it. First of all, can we just say this guy, protect this man, right? We need to protect this man. He even says in the space call, if you find me dead, I didn't commit suicide. What? The fact that he said it tongue in cheek, but he was being serious, tongue in cheek, what? This guy is the best thing that could have ever happened to all of us. Whether you like the fact that stories that you don't like were suppressed, because that's not good, because one day it'll be all of us, okay? This is how tyranny comes. It starts with free speech being taken away. That's the first thing, all right? I am just so rocked by this story. It has rocked my world, so to speak. I love this country above everything else. I love my family first, God, and the country, right? And I love this experiment in freedom. And I never knew how much I loved it until now, like it's threatened to be taken away. I've always heard that statement. You don't love something until you know it's going to be taken away. How many times you've been with a girl, right? Or vice versa with a guy, and you kind of take it for granted, but then all of a sudden maybe you have a breakup, or you might have a breakup and you realize, oh my God, I love this person. What's happening? And you fight for it. As a matter of fact, that brings me to a famous quote that I want to say. Founding Father Patrick Henry: guard with jealous attention public liberty. Think about that. Guard with jealous attention the public liberty. Think about what he meant. Those guys were so ahead of their time. Just like I was just mentioning with your boyfriend, your significant other, and then you take them for granted, and then all of a sudden they could be gone, and now you're jealous over it, and you want to hold on to it, right? He's saying freedom, and I'm going to extend that to freedom of speech, right? It's so important. You should guard it like you would if you were jealous over your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Guard with jealous attention. Like, focus on that. That's so important. Don't lose that. Guard with jealous attention freedom. Guard that. I think that's such a powerful quote. It's simple. It's just so important. I'm going to talk about more of this. I don't want this video to go any longer. I've rambled a bit. This is it. Our world has changed forever, in my opinion. The world has changed. Elon has changed the world, our country specifically. He's brought attention to the fact that there were nefarious actors shutting down the free speech of people they didn't like to sway an election. That's it. And sway public sentiment, not just for an election, for as long as they can. It's been 2 elections now. There's more and more news coming out. There's so much I could talk about. There are so many news things coming out. So much is being revealed now. And major stuff just happened in Arizona with the Katie Hobbs, Kerry Lake election with Twitter and what they were suppressing. This is absolutely incredible. I can only imagine how much info Elon is finding over there. I can only imagine. And thank God for him. Thank God for him, because now we know, we can at least say whatever's happening there is probably happening everywhere else. Either maybe not as bad, or maybe worse. This is crazy. This is the most important story that has ever happened, in my opinion. And guess what? The mainstream media is not covering it. It's up to us to get into Twitter Spaces, to learn, and to spread the news. God bless America. Love you all.